Club Sports.
Everybody, this is Don LaGreca from the Michael K. Show. When it comes to talking sports, Bob Walters and Brett Grasso are the authority.
Can't wait.
When it comes to talking sports, they're the authority. It's Bob Walters and Brett Grasso. It's Locked Up Sports, and it starts now.
Bring them out, bring them out, hey. Bring them out, bring them out, yeah. Bring them out, bring them out, hey. Bring them out.
Here we go. Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. This is Locked Up Sports, a big championship Sunday. Super Bowl 58 is set. The Chiefs do what the Chiefs do. They continue to win in the playoffs, and the Lions blow a huge lead to the 49ers. It's the 49ers and the Chiefs. The Knicks win another one tonight. They are red hot. All that and more. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Bob Walters. We are powered, as always, by Vouch Store. Vouch.store/LockedUpSports is where you go and you get the products, and it's all stuff that we vouch for. Listen, just go check it out, right? What's the worst that happens? You don't buy something? Check it out. I promise you're going to like something. We got cocktails on there. We got coffee on there. There's all kinds of stuff on there. So go check that out. By myself tonight. Brett is working overtime today, so no Brett. So you're going to have to deal with just me, 40, 45 minutes, something like that. You could do it. Don't worry. You'll make it through. Monday is done. We're already on to Tuesday, basically, at work. So the week is basically over, right? You know? Championship Sunday, of course, is the top story. Of course, everybody's talking about the Lions and them blowing the lead. Everybody's talking about Patrick Mahomes. And listen, Patrick Mahomes is as good as it gets, ever. He is now looking for legendary status. And the defense that Spagnuolo threw out there against the Ravens, against one of the against the MVP, Lamar Jackson, who really came up small in yesterday's game. I was disappointed with his performance. I didn't think he played well at all. I don't think the Ravens set him up with a game plan that he could succeed with, but still, he threw a terrible interception into triple coverage in the end zone, and they fumbled the ball. Flowers fumbled the ball at the goal line. Again, listen, it's the same story always in postseason, in regular season. If it's a football game, if it's the NFL, turnovers. Turnovers will kill you. If you cannot hold on to the ball, if you turn the ball over, if you throw it to the other team, you're going to lose the game. And that's just the way it's always been. And that's something that does not change in football. It just doesn't. You got to protect that football. If you turn it over, you're going to lose. And that's what happened yesterday. Let's start with the early game. The Chiefs and the Ravens. The Ravens, of course, coming in. They were the number one seed. They were a favorite for the second week in a row. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs had to go on the road, and they had to deal with being an underdog. And I think they took it personally because they're the defending champs, and they came out and, listen, they played a good game. They played their game is what they did. The Chiefs played their game. You know what you're going to get from Andy Reid, and give credit to Spagnuolo with that defense. He was blitzing Jackson the entire game. You had Kelsey, who came up with a big game. Listen, we talked all year about how the Chiefs Mahomes didn't have a receiver that he could trust, really. They had a ton of drops. They had 44 drops. It was the most drops in the NFL. They kind of struggled. I said a bunch of times, it felt like something was off with the Chiefs, right? He just went to all reliable to Kelsey, and Kelsey had a big game, 11 catches, 150-something yards. He scored a touchdown. He scored the first touchdown of the game. Listen, the Ravens did not play well from the jump, okay? The Chiefs got the ball. They went right down the field and scored right off the bat. And then Baltimore responded with a great throw by Lamar Jackson, which was his best play of the game. You know, I don't want to hear about the pass that he caught himself, that he threw to himself, but which was, okay, that's funny and all. But the best play that Lamar Jackson had all day was on their first drive when he threw the deep ball on the money, in stride, touchdown to tie the game. And you thought, okay, now we're going to have a shootout. It's going to be one of these games, one of the games that maybe like they played against the Bills a couple of years ago, and it's going to be a classic like we all expected. And then after that, the Ravens did nothing. They didn't run the ball. I thought they were going to use Cook a lot more. They didn't run the ball. They were the best running team in the NFL during the regular season, and they went out yesterday against a good opponent, and they just got away from what they're good at. They were throwing it, and Lamar Jackson was off all day. Okay, he was off the entire day. He got strip sacked. He got picked off. He threw that pick in the end zone in the fourth quarter, which was just a terrible throw, a terrible read. I mean, he threw it right into triple coverage in the end zone. And this was following after they fumbled the ball at the goal line. So, listen, the Chiefs win, and I'm done betting against and picking against the Chiefs, because Patrick Mahomes is an all-time top 5 quarterback, and he is now playing for immortal status in this Super Bowl. Because Patrick Mahomes is going to go. He has now played in 6 straight AFC Championship games. He's going to play in 4 Super Bowls in his first 6 seasons. 4 Super Bowls in 6 seasons. I mean, he's going for his 3rd win. He's going for his 3rd MVP. And the question this postseason was, will he be able to do it on the road? It's different now. They're going to be underdogs. They're going to be on the road. And you know what? He's done it. But he never has a bad game. Mahomes never has a bad game. He's only lost like 1 or 2 playoff games before the Super Bowl in his career. This year, he went on the road. He proved everybody wrong. They went into Baltimore where nobody thought that the Ravens could get beat. And you know what? They beat them. And Steve Spagnuolo and that defense, I also told you that this is the best defense that Andy Reid has had. Now, Andy Reid, of course, he's an offensive coach. We all know that. He's a brilliant offensive mind. He's going to stroll into Canton when he decides to walk away, which might be this year, especially if he wins. I think this will probably be Andy Reid's last game if he wins. If he loses, I could see him maybe coming back, but I think either way, it's probably going to be Andy Reid's last game, right? I mean, there were whispers about him possibly retiring and everything, and I think if he can win this Super Bowl and get another Super Bowl and be one of the great coaches of all time, and this will be now officially a dynasty, the Chiefs, if they can win this Super Bowl, and in a time when we didn't think we were going to see dynasties in the NFL anymore. It's been parity for the longest time. The Chiefs, if they can win this, if they can beat San Francisco, they will be a dynasty. A 3rd straight Super Bowl appearance. They won last year. They're defending champions. They've lost now. They beat the Niners. It's a rematch. It's a Super Bowl rematch, which I'm not big on. I would have liked to seen Lions and Ravens, to be honest with you. But Lamar Jackson, he came up small, and it takes nothing away from the season that he had, because he's the MVP. He's going to be the MVP. He should be the MVP. But yesterday he did not play well, and that's a big legacy game for him. Going up against Patrick Mahomes, he's trying to get into that top tier of quarterbacks, maybe the top 4 or 5 guys. And I don't think he's there, because I don't think he throws the ball well. He just, yesterday was another example. He throws a good deep ball. Now he'll hit the guys at stride. He throws a very good deep ball. But as far as the things over the middle, and his reads are not very good. And what he could do is he could use his legs, and he could kind of get away, and he could duck, and he dodges people, and he's like a joystick out there. He's like a video game. But when it comes to actually sitting in the pocket and throwing the ball, he makes mistakes, and he did that yesterday, and it cost his team the game. Now, I don't think it was all Lamar Jackson. I told you, I think they had a bad game plan going in. They got away from the run, which was their bread and butter all season. Their defense played well. After the first couple drives, the defense played well for Baltimore. They kept them in the game. Baltimore had chances, okay? They were off all game. That added on with stupid mistakes like the taunting penalty. They finally got a big play down the field in the early fourth quarter. The guy makes the catch, gets tackled, gets up and spins the ball, stands over the DB and taunts him, and it's 15 yards back the other way. That's a huge penalty. You work so hard to get back in the game, to get a big play. You finally get one. First one since the first drive, and the guy stands over there like an idiot over the defender, taunting him, and he gets a 15-yard penalty going the other way. It's just stupid stuff. You can't do that in an AFC Championship game. Then, of course, there was the play at the goal line. They were going in, okay? They were going in. He was inches from breaking the plane with the ball, and a great defensive play. I'm not sure who did it, but the guy came right around diving right on the ball with his hand. It came out. It was out. It was out before he crossed the line. What are you going to do? It was recovered, but when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. There's no way that he didn't break the plane. And I thought he was in, and here we go. Here's the game. Now we got a good game. And he fumbled it before the end zone. And even though it was a 17-10 final, it was never in doubt, right? Did you ever get the feeling that the Chiefs were going to lose or that the Ravens were going to come back? Because I didn't. Maybe for a split second before you found out that the ball was punched loose before he broke the plane. But other than that, it was never in doubt for me. I felt like the Chiefs were dominating. They dominated the time of possession in the first half. He got sacked 4 times. The Chiefs and Spagnuolo blitzed him 41% of his dropbacks. The Chiefs came after him. They brought the house. They brought pressure every time. And what they do, they got him when he was under pressure, he made mistakes. Because their last gasp after the fumble, they even had another chance. And the last gasp, it was thrown, and he threw that pick into the end zone, in the back of the end zone, into triple coverage. And you could tell, as soon as he came off the field, as soon as he got shown the pictures on the iPad, he saw immediately, and he knew he messed up, and he couldn't believe it. But that was the kind of game he played, and they played that way all day. And the Chiefs the Chiefs are just a machine that just keeps winning, and this is an all-time team, and now they are playing for history because now they're going for their 3rd Super Bowl. They're trying. Mahomes has been in 4 of 6. They made 6 straight conference championship games. The only time they lost was he lost to Brady in the Super Bowl, but Mahomes is an all-time great, and I don't want to hear it now. For me, Peyton Manning is the best I've ever seen. That's my number one best quarterback Sunday to Sunday I've ever seen. Peyton Manning. He's a field general out there. He runs the offense. He calls the plays, and he was just money. Now I can't argue with you if you're going to tell me Brady because he's got this. That's the Jordan argument. He's got all the wins. He's got the Super Bowls. He's 7 Super Bowls. He's got 6 with Bill. He got the 1 without Bill. So I can't argue with you if you're going to say Brady, Manning. It's basically splitting hairs, but Patrick Mahomes is right there with them. And when it's all said and done, he's going to be right there. He might even be the best ever. That's where he's headed. And that's why this is a huge Super Bowl for him. And he's got Kelsey, who is, arguably, and it's not even becoming arguably anymore. It's starting to become definitive that he's the best tight end to ever play. I mean, he just passed Jerry Rice for most receptions in the playoffs in NFL history. Number 1. Now, I know they play more games now. They play more rounds, and there's more teams and whatnot. But hey, listen, anytime you pass Jerry Rice, right, you're doing something right. And he just continues, and that's what Mahomes did. We told you he didn't have a receiver, he didn't trust anyone, so he just went right to his old reliable, right to Kelsey, the whole game. Big game for Kelsey. And you know what? The Chiefs just shut everybody up, including myself, because we were all saying, they're missing something this year. There's something off. This is Mahomes' worst year as a pro. And he's going to the Super Bowl. That's what we're talking about. We all said that there was something wrong with the Chiefs. They're not the same team this year. Something's off. He doesn't have the receivers. They're dropping passes. And they get to the playoffs and they roll right through. And now just when you look the other way, you turn back and they are in the Super Bowl. So the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl bound. 58, Super Bowl 58. I can't believe it's Super Bowl 58 already, to be honest with you. I was saying 48 yesterday. But it's Super Bowl 58. Give him credit. Andy Reid, an all-time coach. You're watching a dynasty here. Just when we said that there would never be another dynasty because of the parity and everything going on, here come the Chiefs, and they are a dynasty. It's a big Super Bowl for Andy Reid's legacy and Mahomes' legacy. Now, Mahomes is still early in his career. Andy Reid, if he can win this, he gets put up there with the top coaches of all time. He's a brilliant coach. He's already cemented his spot in Canton. Either way, win or lose. If he wants to be mentioned with the Jimmy Johnsons and the Chuck Knowles and the Landry and the Don Shulers and the Belichicks of the world, he's got to win this one. And it's not going to be easy because they're going up against the Niners team that is good. And we're going to get to that game in a second. And you got to feel bad for the Lions fans, right? I tried to get one of the Lions podcasters guys on that runs their official podcast. I'm going to try and get him on later this week at some point because I got to talk to him. I got to find out, like, what is it like in there? I mean, I've been there. It's like the Mets, but I mean, they came so close and they had a good year. Listen, the Lions had a good year. They're going to look back on it and they're going to always be disappointed because they blew it. They collapsed, but they had a good year and they're going to end up treasuring this team that they had. But so the AFC Championship, 17-10, Chiefs win it. Just a masterful defensive performance put together by Spagnuolo, the guy who beat the undefeated Patriots. Listen, he's a great defensive coordinator too. We're going to take a quick break now, and we're going to come back on the other side, and we are going to talk about the NFC Championship game and what the Lions did and how they blew that lead and how San Francisco came back. And we're going to preview the Super Bowl. Also, we're going to talk about the Knicks. You're listening to Locked Up Sports. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, this is Sarah Walters, wife of Locked Up Sports host Bob Walters. I love a good cocktail, but I'm certainly no mixologist. And these days, who has the time to go out and get the latest fancy craft cocktails? Luckily, there's a delicious solution that even I can make. It's called Camp Craft Cocktails. All I have to do is add my favorite spirit, put it in the refrigerator, and 3 days later, I have the perfectly infused, flavorful, refreshing cocktail. Camp Craft cocktails have many varieties and go great with any type of spirit. These cocktails are perfect to serve at parties and make a great gift as well. To get your choice of Camp Craft cocktails delivered right to your door, head on over to our partner Vouch at vouch.store/lockedupsports and pick up some of the individual jars or one of the many bundles available. Camp Craft cocktails are just one of the many great items available at the Locked Up Sports Vouch store, where everything is vouched for by the Locked Up Sports team. I wouldn't trust my husband's pick for the big game, but when it comes to cocktails, he knows what he's talking about. The Vouch website is vouch.store/lockedupsports, or you can click the link to the Vouch store on the show's website, lockedupsports.net. Cheers.
This is Bob Nightingale from USA Today. You're listening to Locked Up Sports.
Yo, welcome back, everybody. I'm Bob Walters, Locked Up Sports. Welcome back. Presented by Vouch Store, powered by Vouch Store. So check us out, vouch.store/lockedupsports, as you just heard there, my beautiful wife. So now the NFC game. The Chiefs, the Ravens with the early game. Then you settled in. You got the NFC Championship. The Lions are heavy underdogs, right? You figure, you know what? It's not. If it rained, it was supposed to rain early in the week. They were talking about rain. Maybe Brock Purdy, who has trouble throwing the ball in the rain, would have some issues. It turned out to be a sunny day, and you thought the Lions were in trouble until the kickoff. And then 4 plays in, up 7-0. They went right down the field, stuck it right in the end zone, and it was 7-0. Before you even blinked, it was 14-0. And you're like, whoa, the Lions got something here. The Lions have got something here. Goff was throwing the ball good. They were running it down their throat. San Francisco could do nothing in the first half. The game was as dominant as you could possibly have in favor of the Lions. I mean, Montgomery and Gibbs were running all over. Montgomery went down, scored the touchdown. He got 2 touchdowns in the game. They're up 24-7 at halftime. It's over. They're up 17 points. The Lions show no signs of slowing down. San Francisco can't do anything right. They can't get any sustained offense. And then the third quarter came. And it was just a complete and utter collapse. It was 60 years since their last playoff win. I mean, it was just, it's been forever. It's been forever. And they had a lead, and they came out in that second half, and they just fell apart completely. And listen, everyone wants to get on the coach. Everyone wants to say he shouldn't have gone for it on those 4th downs. And I get it. And listen, there's a difference between being aggressive and being stupid. And Campbell was stupid on some of them. Okay, at the end of the first half, he elected on 4th and I think it was 3 or 4, he elected to kick the field goal, which was the right decision. But if you're going to go for it, that's the time to go for it. You know, you're up 21-7. You can put the game away at 28-7. You go into the locker room 28-7. I don't think they're coming back. If they would have put that in the end zone there, they're not. The Niners aren't coming back. Even with the collapse, they wouldn't have come back. He elects to kick the field goal, which is fine. 90% of the teams and the coaches out there in this league are going to kick the field goal in that situation. He did it. They made it 24-7 into the locker room. They come out for the third quarter. They got to be flying high, right? They got to be feeling good 24-7. We're dominating this game physically. We're winning the line of scrimmage. We're stopping them defensively. We're playing well. Purdy just doesn't seem to have it today. And then, like I said, it's like a switch just got flipped. And the Lions helped flip the switch is the problem I have. And Dan Campbell going for it on fourth down twice. Missing it. Now, it wasn't his fault because if he makes it, it's not completely his fault because if they make it and they get the first down on one of those two, we're saying gutsy call, great call, gutsy call. And this is the way they played all year. And this is the way he's coached since he's come to Detroit. So it was not unexpected. Now, the first one was bad because it was just dropped. I mean, he hit him right in the numbers. You couldn't have thrown the ball any better. The guy just dropped the ball. It would, what are you going to do? And that one, the game was still kind of, the tide was starting to turn in San Francisco's favor. But the second one, you had a chance to tie the game. Down 27-24, 7:32 left, 4th and 3 on the San Francisco 30-yard line. 47-yard field goal ties the game. All kickers in the NFL can make a 47-yard field goal. It's not a gimme, but it's probably a 65-70% chance you're going to make it. And he decides to go for it, passes up the chance to tie the game. Goff rolls out right, throws a bad pass, not even close, and they turn it over, and San Francisco takes it down the other way and scores a touchdown, and that's when the game was over. You get a chance to tie the game with a 47-yard field goal and at least get it even again. Get some of the momentum back. Stop it a little bit. And he decides to go for it, and you know what? That's how they played forever. That's how they played since he got there. They were going to live by that. They lived by that. They died by that yesterday. And, what are you going to do? But I think there's time to be aggressive, and there's a time, and then there's aggressive, and there's stupid. And that was not the right decision to go. The second one was not the right decision. The first one, I could live with. I could live with the field goal at halftime at the end of the first half. But that second one, when you could have tied the game with a 47-yard field goal, I can't. That's inexcusable as far as I'm concerned. But listen, the game was over when it was tied. Right when as soon as San Francisco tied that game and they came all the way back and as soon as it was tied, you knew it was over. You knew the Lions didn't stand a chance because now all the momentum is you could just feel it. There was not a chance the Lions were winning that game once it got tied, and you could feel it coming too as they were coming back. You said to yourself, okay, if the Niners ever tie this thing, it's over. It's over. The crowd got back into it. I mean, that place was dead at halftime. The building was dead. They were shocked. You came out and scored 14 points right off the bat. Shocked. And listen, it was drops and it was fumbles and they did everything wrong. There were penalties. It just nothing went right. And give Brock Purdy credit. Listen, I don't call him a game manager. He's not a top quarterback in this league, but he is good enough. He's just on that second level. And for somebody who went dead last in the draft, you give him all the credit in the world because he is now in his 2 seasons made it to the championship game and the Super Bowl. So I don't know what these people are saying. A game manager, this, that. Listen, you can't even say that about him because you look foolish now, and he makes you look foolish. He makes everybody that says it look foolish because all he does is win games. Is he a bit of a game manager? Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have a rocket arm. He's not a great dynamic with his legs, but he had some big runs yesterday. He had bigger runs than Lamar Jackson had. A couple times he slips out of the pocket. He ran a couple big runs. In that third quarter alone, he had some big runs. And like I said, the Lions, they got to be sick to their stomach today. Because as Dan Campbell said in the post game, in the press conference, they might not get back to this point. This team might not get back to it. Sometimes this is all you get. Sometimes it's used as a building block, but when it's a collapse like this, and it's a collapse of such historic proportions, it was the third biggest comeback in the history of the championship game, and it was 17 points. I think the biggest was only 18 points, and that happened like once or twice, and everything went right for the Niners and everything went wrong for the Lions. I mean, we gave up 27 unanswered points by the San Francisco 49ers is just, nobody saw it coming, right? None of us saw that coming. Campbell, like I said, he went 2 times and he kicked the field goal at the end of the half, which I'm okay with. I'm even okay with him going for it. But there's sometimes, like I said, there's a difference between being aggressive and being stupid, because sometimes you just got to put the points on the board. And when that second time when he decided to go for it on 4th down, where Goff just got flushed out of the pocket to his right and threw a bad pass, at that point it was slipping away. You needed to just settle things down, and kicking a field goal and tying the game would have settled things down. They've come all the way back. Now, like I said, the momentum, there was no momentum left with the Lions. It was all in San Francisco side. Kicks a field goal, would have been a 48-yarder. Kick it. Make the field goal. 48's not that long. Not for an NFL kicker. They all make it. So, and then at the end of the game, which is kind of, it's not that big of a deal, but when they had all 3 timeouts and the announcers were talking about it, you got to stick this thing in the end zone. And you got to keep all 3 timeouts, because if you don't, then you're relying on the onside kick. Because there's not enough time. If you don't go into, give them the ball back with 3 timeouts, you're not going to get it back. They could just take knees with it. And what they do, all they had to do was not throw it into the end zone 3 times. Try and get it in. If you don't get it in, at least the clock stops. They run it on 1st and goal. And he gets stuffed at the 3-yard line. It just, again, the coaching in these playoffs has just been atrocious. Besides Spagnuolo and Andy Reid yesterday in Baltimore, the coaching has been atrocious. And it was bad yesterday too on Dan Campbell, and it was bad for the Ravens. Their game plan was just way off. And it cost these teams every time. Every time that these coaches screwed up in these playoffs, whether it be the Rams or the Bills or any of them, or yesterday even, it cost their team the game and it ended their season. The coaching, like, what are these guys doing? Dan Campbell coaches like he's playing Madden. Like, I'm going to go for it. 4th and 18 on my own 30-yard line. Let's go for it. Fake punt. That's what, come on. You're not playing Madden. It's the NFL. It's the playoffs. Sometimes I get being aggressive, but there's a difference between aggressive and stupid. And sometimes these coaches are just stupid. And it's ridiculous. And it's happened multiple times. So that sets us up for the Niners and the Chiefs. Super Bowl 58 is going to be in Vegas. It's 2 weeks from yesterday. It's going to be a good game. I told you I'm done. I'm done picking against Patrick Mahomes because he's one of the all-time greats. And I'm done picking against Andy Reid because he's one of the all-time greats. I'm going to pick him here. I don't know exactly what the line is. I'm guessing the Niners are probably a 2.5-point favorite to open, but it'll change. We'll see what it is next week. You'll get a better feel for it. You got 2 weeks now to listen, and for everybody that's bitching and moaning about, I got to hear about Taylor Swift for 2 weeks. Come on, there's a storyline. There's a storyline like this that gets drilled into your head every Super Bowl, right? Everyone, they find one. And I don't know why people get all bent out of shape over them showing Taylor Swift. They pan the camera to her when Kelsey makes a catch or a play. Does that really bother you? Does that change the way you watch the game? Like when you're sitting there, do you have to see Taylor Swift on your screen for 3 seconds after Kelsey makes a nice catch? Does that really bother you that much? Or do you just like to complain? Because that's what I think it is. Because how does that really bother you? Talk about first world problems. If my biggest problem on the weekend is that I saw too much Taylor Swift on the game yesterday, first world problems. Nobody cares. Everybody's got to bitch and moan about it. It's really not that big of a deal. She's a huge star, so I don't know what and CBS has the Grammys coming up next week. So of course they were going to put her on. They'd be stupid not to. Plus it's bringing a whole new fan base into the NFL with all these young kids and all these girls that are watching just to see that. You're going to get an extra couple million viewers. You're going to show her. It is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. Stop complaining about it. And stop complaining about hearing about Taylor Swift for the next 2 weeks, because you know what? She's a big enough star. She's going to clean up at the Grammys next week. You would have heard about her anyway. So it really doesn't change anything. I'm going to pick the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I'm not making an official pick till next week, but that's where I'm heading, because I'm done picking against the Chiefs. I picked against them yesterday. I thought the Ravens, that this was their time. This was Lamar's year. This is where he made the step up to the top level of quarterback in the NFL, and he just couldn't do it. Came up short. And as always, Patrick Mahomes, who did not have a good year, did not have a good receiving core, had struggled on offense, dropped passes all over the place, came in and he played a hell of a game. And I don't think Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, not even to knock him here, because I'm not knocking him, because you can't knock him. He's a winner. He's not going into the Super Bowl and beating Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, who are playing for destiny, for history's sake. They're going to try and be a dynasty. Andy Reid's trying to be one of the greatest coaches ever. Join that class. Mahomes is looking to join the Brady and Manning class. And I don't think Brock Purdy, and as good as that defense is, and as good as they played, and as clutch as McCaffrey is, I don't see them winning the game. I don't. I see a tight game. I think the Chiefs win by a touchdown, is what I think. So that's your Super Bowl. That's your championship Sunday. The season, the football season is now basically over, because you got one game left. It's Super Bowl. Super Bowl's a different type of animal. It's not like sitting down on a Sunday and watching the game. You go to parties, or you go to parties. I don't generally, I don't like going to Super Bowl parties. I just like to watch the game, because I feel like you miss the game when you're at the Super Bowl parties. You got everything going on, and you're talking and you're drinking, and you don't even, you end up missing the game. So I generally like to just hang out at home, watch the Super Bowl, and enjoy the game as a football game, as a football fan. So that's probably what I'll be doing. Now we're going to put together Super Bowl boxes, a Locked Up Sports Super Bowl boxes. So we'll have that out. I will check out our social media, our Facebook page, Locked Up Sports Podcast, Instagram, Locked Up Sports, Twitter, Locked Up Sports. We'll put it all over there. We're going to sell the boxes, probably $10 a piece. Haven't figured out exactly what it's going to go, but we'll do that. We'll put that together this week, and we'll have it for you in the upcoming days. Real quick, tonight, before we go, I want to mention the Knicks. The Knicks, listen, the Knicks again. The Knicks have won 7 straight. They've won 13 of 15. They were up 40 points in the third quarter. They scored 44 points in the third quarter tonight against Charlotte. Now, Charlotte's not a great team by any stretch, but there was 10,000, there was maybe 15,000 people in the building, 10,000 Knicks fans. At some points, it was louder than the Garden. Brunson, 32 points. He's 17 games now with 30 points or more. He's going to be named to the All-Star game. The Knicks are now a top team in this league. Finally, when did it happen? Right? The Knicks. If I would have told you 5 years ago that the Lions would be playing for a trip to the Super Bowl and the Knicks would be winning 13 of 15, 7 straight, and be 13-2 in the month of January, you would have thought I was crazy. And here we are, 2024. The Knicks are going to be a top team. And now I think the Knicks can probably pass Cleveland and get into that and solidify that 4 spot and get home court in the first round. They're not a championship team yet. They're not. But they are definitely a team that can make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. And before 2 weeks ago, I would have told you the Rangers are going to the finals. The Knicks are probably going to be out in the second round. The Rangers are struggling mightily. Now, they got a big win the other night, but they can't be. They have not had a good month of January, and the Knicks have just been unstoppable in the month of January. 13-2 for the month. They've won 13 of 15. They've won 7 in a row. They play tomorrow night at the Garden, and it's going to be a raucous crowd because they are coming home. Jalen Brunson is just one of the top players in the NBA right now. It's all coming up Knicks for right now, which is unbelievable, which is good because now after the Super Bowl, it's kind of the lull in the sports calendar, right? You're trying to get through February. You're trying to get to March Madness and the tournament and the conference tournaments. And then you got pitchers and catchers, because pitchers and catchers is a false start of spring, false start of baseball too. You'll see the statuses on Facebook, and they'll be all over your news feed and all over Twitter. Baseball's back, pitchers and catchers. Baseball is not back when pitchers and catchers. Pitchers and catchers report it's still snowing up here. They don't have a game for a couple weeks. Those spring training games are awful. I can't get into that. That is not the start of baseball season. And you're going to see it, and it's going to be all over. Baseball's back. Baseball's not back when pitchers and catchers report. You still have another month and a half before baseball's back. Right now, after the Super Bowl, you just try and get to the NCAA tournament. Get to the NCAA tournament, and then that's spring. And then we made it, and then it's all downhill, nice, easy roll into summer. So that's going to do it for us today. Remember, hit up Vouch Store. Check it out, vouch.store/lockedupsports. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all of them. Look, here they are right there. We're running through them right now. So that's going to do it for me. We'll be back later in the week. We're going to supposedly have Mark Mancini back. Can't wait to talk to him. Haven't talked to him in a couple weeks. Got to get him back on a schedule here. So that does it for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, however you consume this show. Don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. I'm Bob Walters. We'll talk to you later in the week, everybody. See ya.